What is the biggest structure in Minecraft? Easy, it's the ancient city. Let's roll the outro. The largest space for a structure is the ancient city, but most people would look at that and say, wait, clearly that's not right. You can't say that all of this air counts towards the structure, and so what is the biggest structure by actual number of blocks? In the overworld, the answer is easy, it's the Woodland Mansion, but some Bastion Remnants variants are of different sizes, meaning the real answer is actually dependent on your seed. Thankfully, seeds are something we actually specialize in here on this channel, and so I can show you some of the biggest variants of structures, such as this super tall desert temple you can get on this very first seed. This desert temple is massive. It starts at Y72 and then goes all the way up, being filled with sandstone up until a point of 114, making this 42 blocks tall. Combine that with 20 blocks of depth and 20 blocks of width, there are around 16,000 blocks here, which is a lot, but it's actually not as many as even a small trial chamber, and so we can say that it's big, but there are 3 seeds that are even bigger. Let's go through the biggest structures you can see in Minecraft today, and some seeds that will actually work if you want to check them out. Disclaimer, will only work in Bedrock versions from 2020 or later. So our number 3 winner for biggest structure is one that is absolutely insane, not just in terms of the spawn position. Look at this, I'm directly in front of a ruined portal, which is on the side of a cliff. Y185 is a crazy place to spawn, but the fact that there's a structure even taller than me is what really takes the cake on this seed. However, when you're looking at a structure which is this tall, seriously, not just this tall or this tall, it's that tall, you have to immediately question, how the heck does this even happen? Why is there a structure this tall that is naturally generating that anyone can have their hands on? And it actually kind of stems from an old programming issue that Minecraft had. You see, structures used to have a very simple way that they spawned. They'd be the same size every single time on every single world, but this caused a very big problem because they would eventually start spawning in the air. Imagine if one spawns on the side of, say, a big floating mountain, then what would naturally happen is there would be some of the blocks which were floating, and in the cases of villages, this could lead to all sorts of problems, and so Minecraft tried to work out a solution, and sometimes this is using islands, so there'll be a bit of dirt that generates below parts of a village, for example, and a lot of the time they just have a way to connect the bottom of the structure to the ground. In the case of a pillager outpost, it's simple because there's just a pattern they can follow all the way down, and so you get yourself the almost 200 block tall pillager outpost. If you want to know its actual height, it starts here at Y61, but it's actually 151 blocks tall, then it's 14 blocks wide and 14 blocks deep, and we do the calculation and you can see that that means there are 29,000 blocks here, despite the fact that 80 or 90% of them are going to be made up solidly of cobblestone, although there's something even more fun than that. Inside of here, you'll notice it's actually largely birch planks that you'll find, so there's a lot of birch planks, a very rare place for them to naturally spawn, and if you wanted to take advantage of that, you could. Otherwise, I feel like you could do something really fun with this in a survival world by taking just below where the bottom of the structure usually would be and mining it out. You could turn this ridiculous pile of blocks into anything you wanted to, or you could show the ridiculousness of the connection by just placing a few strands that actually do connect the two things. So I'll just use, the odd fence here or there, just to connect this to the bottom of there, and then I'll use a mossy cobblestone wall here or there too, and eventually you're left with a very ridiculous looking structure that highlights exactly how something actually is. Pretty fun if you ask me, but otherwise, yeah, this is 29,000 blocks of just material that exists, but it is still one of the largest structures that you can find naturally, despite being formed on one of the smallest structures that exist in the game, and so you can kind of use the idea of this scaling to work out how you might find an even bigger structure. Because seed number 2 is actually a very chill one. There's basically nothing that's that notable over here. I mean, there is a big pile of sandstone in the corner, but just try not to think about it too hard. Look, there's a lovely villager outpost over there. Except, okay, yeah, you could probably guess that this big pile of sandstone might actually mean something, and boy is it a big pile of sandstone. I mean, at least you can't argue they wasted all those materials building in the wrong place, although you could definitely argue that this guy picked the wrong place to build a house. I mean, come on, of all the places, dude. But yeah, if you want a bed, if you want a desert temple, and if you want to pillage your outpost all in the same space, well, this is your opportunity. It's a bit of a mess to actually come through, and especially if you want to do the archaeology, you might have to fight off some dudes while you're doing it. But yeah, if you can just mine through this and then mine down here, you'll find yourself all of the usual chests. Although you then might question, wait, if they're at the usual height, what's in all of this base over here? And the answer, my sad duty is to tell you, is that as cool as it would be if you could actually find things that were down here, in reality, once you go below the chamber room with the TNT, oh, that was unexpected. Yeah, this is very surreal to see. There's absolutely nothing encasing this place right here. It's just hanging out in the desert, and instead there's just a few layers of sandstone around it. If we were to do the traditional maths on this, you'd probably see that it's over 100 blocks tall, it's 20 blocks wide, it's 20 blocks deep. This would be a very, very, very large structure, but I think we can't say that this is actually larger because of the fact that it is missing so many blocks. And so this is a very, very cool looking seed. It's a very, very rough time for the villagers that are up there. Oh wait, oh, even more interesting. There's a village guy that's living in the basement. That's smart, my dude. I don't know how you intend to get out for food. In fact, I can tell that you don't intend to get out for food. But I love your gumption. Keep it up, buddy. And so what is the very biggest structure that has been found in Minecraft? Well, let me show you. Our final seed is one that was found by Minecraft and Chill a couple of years ago, and is one which is incredible for those of you who like structures. Next to spawn, you can see there's a pillager outpost. These came from 1.14. Then you can see there's also a ruined portal. This came in 1.16. We've got the obvious mansion from 1.11, and even better than that is the fact that this seed has gotten better since discovered, because if you are to just walk forwards and dig down a little bit, you'll find that there is a really fun old Minecraft structure. That's right, it's a monster room. The monster room, the dungeon, whatever you want to call it, is very wonderful because it has this cat disc and it has a golden apple. But even more fun is the fact that the modern version of the monster room exists over here too, and you can have both side by side, which is incredible, but probably not what you came to this video, and indeed this seed for. So what exactly does this seed have? Well, just over here, inside of a taiga biome, is a structure that shouldn't be spawning in this biome whatsoever, let alone spawning at this height. But here is a woodland mansion, which is a staggering, height at the very top here of Y244. That is ridiculous. Minecraft does go up to Y320, you can place blocks up there, but the natural terrain will only ever go up to Y256 with very few exceptions, and so this is 12 blocks off being the tallest woodland mansion that you can find, and then it goes all the way down to 89, where some of it begins, and even further over here down to Y63, and even further down here to Y59, all the way up to Y244. This is the closest thing you can get to a 200 block tall structure in Minecraft. Wait, it goes deeper down here, down to Y53. And when we take the measurements of this from corner to corner, then we conclude that it is these measurements deep and wide, which we can multiply by the 189 tallness, and that is an 800,000 blocks worth of structure. That is absolutely ridiculous that 800,000 blocks generate not as part of one geographic feature, but as part of one actual structure in Minecraft. And at this point, I could say, yeah, therefore, using the same measurements you would measure an ancient city by, this is the biggest structure that has ever been found in Minecraft. Will it be the biggest structure ever though? And indeed, is it even the biggest structure now? I think there is a valuable point to be raised, which is to say that 800,000 blocks is including a lot of the air in this particular vertical slice. It's also including some of the blocks which aren't cobblestone because the height varies from place to place. And also, just like any other Minecraft structure, it uses a very loose algorithm to determine if there should be cobblestone below the mansion. And so you can see that if we start mining enough blocks, then we'll eventually reach a point where actually there's nothing down here. It takes some good time because it's so cobblestoney, but there are in fact parts of this woodland mansion that aren't fully underground, because as soon as there is a part of mountain or cliff, wow, actually, this is looking like it's proving my point, until all of a sudden it doesn't. There is clearly meant to be some mansion here, but technically the structure thinks it's reached the bottom, and so it stops caring. Only when there's a direct line between the bottom of the mansion and the bottom of the terrain is there going to be one of these tall pillars, and it means that you get some ridiculously tiny strands, like at the bottom here. It's It's literally going to be 3 or 4, well, literally 1 block deep, but 3 or 4 blocks deep for many parts of this. And so a decent majority of this structure, those 800,000 blocks, is actually going to be air. And then the rest of them, from the rest of actual blocks, the overwhelming majority are just cobblestone. And can you consider this to be a structure? If I was to build something like this in my world, wait, I think I actually have. Do you consider that to be a real structure in its own right? Or do you consider it to be just a smattering of blocks? There is a question about what a structure is and how you measure a structure, but I'd rather ask the more interesting question, which is this the biggest structure that will ever be found in Minecraft? And I think the answer to that is probably no. Given this goes up to Y242, and like I mentioned, in theory, it could go up to Y256, given that you can get slightly bigger Woodland Mansion variants, I think it's entirely possible that we get an extra 5 or 10% in terms of blocks here, and so we could get a structure that pushes 1,000,000 blocks in theoretical end-to-end distance. There's also, of course, the possibility that Mojang brings out an even bigger structure, because all of these structures in contention for the biggest in Minecraft have been brought out in recent-ish Minecraft updates, and so maybe in the future we get something which makes this look lame. Let me know if you enjoyed the fun new editing things we did in this video, and also don't forget to subscribe if you want to stay up to date with the latest in Minecraft news. For now though, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye. And boy, is it a big pile of sandstone.